Oh, didn't see it. My name is. Hello, this is Ruben Tolentino.
This is Jason Rupert.
Poseidon Adventure, filmed in 1972, is about a cruise ship that gets capsized by a tidal wave. It could be considered the original disaster film, if you will.
In this film, Gene Hackman plays Reverend Scott, a brash reverend who puts his faith in himself and not God. He has to lead the rest of the survivors on the ship out to safety. Will he make it? Some of these survivors include an ex-prostitute, an ex-cop, some of the crew that works on the ship, a brother, a sister, a married couple, and so many more that you'll get to know.
I can't say I didn't enjoy the film, but it feels unoriginal, which is weird because it is the original. I'd say that this is probably because of all the modern bad or not very good, same thing, disaster films kind of copying this one, making this one seem unoriginal. It's kind of weird. Although I don't feel like I was invested in most of the characters, I'm still interested in what would happen to them. Instances of religious symbolism. You hear that? You hear that? Yeah, religious symbolism in this film. One example I'd like to talk about, without spoiling too much, is when they have to climb a Christmas tree, which is, I would consider, an obvious representation of God, to save themselves. However, not everyone does it, and then so only a few survivors climb up and are able to survive. The rest may or may not die. I'm not. Who knows? But I think this kind of represents how people say God saves people, but what about the people that die? All people left behind that didn't have faith in themselves. You know, crazy stuff.
I personally feel that these characters were actually pretty well developed. Now, this is coming from someone who hasn't watched a lot of disaster films.
He's wrong.
But I personally think that these characters have a lot of information given. You have backstories developed for each of them, and even though there are a lot of main characters, and it does feel kind of rushed that their backstories are given about maybe 2 minutes of development in the whole running time of the film. But still, it's still something that we can base these characters off of and not just give them oh, he's the stereotypical nerd character, he's the stereotypical leader character. They're not bland character tropes, they feel like actual fleshed out characters.
Really makes you think. I think I'd give it like 5.5 or 6 out of 10 though.
I'd have to disagree. I'd give it somewhere in the ballpark of 7.5 out of...
Well, I mean, I'd say most of the characters don't actually have development at all.
I disagree. A lot of these characters actually show a lot of progression throughout the film.
Like who? Name one.
Reverend Scott.
Name two.
Rogo.
Name three.
Martin.
Exactly. No. Martin. No. Rogo and Reverend Scott. I think they're cool. They're my favorite characters because they had cool. I don't know about Reverend Scott development, but he doesn't need development. Yeah. All right. So, but Martin. No. What? How does he develop?
He goes from being lonely to having a love life. They made that a very big point.
That's not his character. His character didn't change though. It's just like.
Yeah, he went from a supporting character to everyone to a supporting character to everyone.
Exactly. He didn't change.
But see, now he has to help Nani throughout, and he leads Nani.
Yeah.
Okay, Nani.
Wait, not Nani? Nani? I wasn't really invested with any of the characters other than Reverend Scott and Rogo. Everyone else, I just really didn't care about. When blank name died, I didn't really care, to be honest.
But the film kept you guessing on who was gonna die. Now, didn't it?
Yeah, because it just kind of randomly died for no reason. It barely advanced the plot most of the half the time.
But you were still interested on who was going to die, weren't you?
Kinda, until the end when someone dies, and it's really random.
See, but that's what this film does. Even though I'll agree with you that some of the characters did feel a bit flat and did feel a bit pointless. But a lot of these characters, they get you to think that, when you see these characters, you don't see them and go, oh, I know for a fact you're going to die. I know for a fact that you're just here to die. A lot of these characters show their own arcs, and like you want them to go through with the movie.
There's one character that you know is gonna die.
Yeah, okay. I'll give you that.
But yeah, sure. I'll give you. I'll kind of agree with you on some of those points, but in the end, I still don't think most of the characters develop at all, to be honest. Enough of your nonsense. Wait. It says here, this is not an opportunity to use hate speech, bullying, etc. Can you do it?
Yeah, okay. Ah!